Hi everyone, this is Archangeli. Welcome back to my channel. A very warm welcome to new friends and welcome back to old friends. So today, continuing on with the theme of Spooktober, we're going to talk about 4 older figures in my Kotobukiya Bishoujo figure collection. So we've got Edward from Edward Scissorhands, we've got Jason from Friday the 13th, we've got Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street, and Lucy from Ghostbusters. Now these are actually a variety of ages. I think Edward came out in 2016, Freddy and Jason came out in 2014, and Lucy came out in, I want to say 2011 or something thereabouts. So these have been in my collection for quite some time. I don't get to show them off very often. So yeah, let's talk about them. Let's talk about Lucy from the Ghostbusters. Now, first off, I do need to say that Lucy is not actually a canonical character from the Ghostbusters franchise. This is, I guess for lack of a better word, fan art that Shunya Yamashita created based on the Ghostbusters franchise. And there are little elements that reflect, the original 4. So obviously she's wearing that famous jumpsuit that is a little more distressed than in the movies. I'm using the word distressed lightly. After all, her butt is hanging out completely. She's holding onto Egon's proton pack, and she's also wearing his ecto glasses. And there's also the little ghost trap at her feet. She's standing on top of the classic Ghostbusters logo. And when you look at her, there's no doubt that this is a Ghostbusters figure. Now, having recently reviewed the Morrigan from Darkstalker's figure, which is the newest Bishoujo figure that I received, it's kind of interesting to go back and look at Lucy because there's definitely an element of cohesion and consistency from this figure that was released way back when. And, if you compare it to Morrigan. Now, let's just talk details here. She's very, very well sculpted. All of the little electronic bits on the proton pack, the details on her belt, all of these details are really, really well sculpted. The paintwork is very, very neat. What I would say is a bit odd is that I think if this was a more recent Bishoujo figure, they would take a little more effort in airbrushing the bodysuit and maybe painting some of the electronic elements like the cables and the wires on that proton pack on her back. I feel like the paintwork here, they hadn't quite decided how elaborate or how detailed they really want to be. When I look at Lucy's face, first of all, I think it may just be an issue with my figure and the artist that was painting her. The paintwork is a little bit messy between the left and the right eyes. But aside from that, the choice to use bright hot pink as a lower lash line eyeliner is just really weird. I'm also not a fan of her lips, but if you compare this figure with other older Bishoujo figures, that's just how they were painting the lips at that time. So I won't say too much on that. What I do think is a little strange is they used a kind of translucent PVC for her hair. And I'm not sure if you can really see it in this video with the way the light is hitting, but certain angles, it's definitely translucent. It's kind of see-through and it's kind of strange. But aside from that, this is a really cute figure. Her pose is really dynamic. The paintwork is really nice and definitely an excellent figure to own if you're a Ghostbusters fan. So next, let's move on to Freddy Krueger. So the next 3 figures are gender swaps of these classic horror film characters. So with Freddy, we've taken some of the most iconic elements from that terrifying character. So we've got his leather glove with the knives, we've got his fedora, we have that iconic red and green striped sweater. But Shunya Yamashita has reimagined this character as a sexy kind of valley girl. I mean, if you look at her makeup, she's got frosty pink lips, blonde hair. She looks kind of like a California valley girl, right? But the progression in the makeup and the face sculpt from even just Lucy, who is a few years older, is a very big difference. I'm sure they've used decals for her eyes, but they've actually sculpted her eyeballs. They're actually round. She's got a really cute nose. Her lips and her teeth are defined and sculpted. It's a much more detailed face. There's, again, that consistency of really excellent body blushing and very excellent painting and very detailed sculpt work in the figure itself. And by detailed sculpt work, I mean like the fringe on her little Daisy Duke shorts, all the wrinkles on her boots, all of that is really, really noticeable when you look at her up close. They've also given her a real fabric stocking, which it's very seamlessly done. It's really, really nice. And you don't see this too often in mainstream figures. I mean, you'll see this in eroge type figures where they're wearing, you know, sexy bunny girl outfits and fishnet stockings, but you don't see this too often in mainstream. So it's kind of cool. She's got hot fuchsia pearly nail polish, and she's got a really cute pair of high-heeled boots, and she's standing in what looks like a puddle of blood. Now, what's cool is that on the back of her little Daisy Duke shorts, there's a little tag that says Freddy versus Jason. And so this will tie in to the next figure. Next is Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. Now, Jason is reimagined, of course, with that iconic, creepy hockey mask, but she's also holding an axe and a bloody machete. Why it's bloody, I'm not sure I really want to know. But bear with me for a second. I mean, if you cover that hockey mask and you just look at the girl in the outfit, I'm actually getting Lara Croft Tomb Raider vibes from this more than anything else. And I mean, that could be because of the cut-off t-shirt bra. It could be because of the trench coat and these army surplus boots. But maybe it's because Lara Croft is also a busty and fit, strong female character. But anyways, I'm getting off track. Let's look at the details on this figure. First of all, let's look at her face. Her face is actually beautifully sculpted. She has a serene, almost thoughtful expression on her. Not what I would associate with Jason or Friday the 13th, but she is actually very beautiful. The line work on her eyelashes is really well done. She's got a really cute nose. She's got an icy, frosty pink lipstick. This color was really popular in the 80s. Her hair is really, really nicely sculpted. It's really cute with all these little flippy bits. And it's very well painted and very well shaded and airbrushed as well. Lots of definition in the hair. And you know I'm crazy about nice hair on figures. And in line with some of the other Bishoujo figures, the body blushing is also really, really well done. On her neck, her cleavage, her thighs, her abs are really well defined. Even her butt cheeks are really well defined. The body blushing is really, really nicely done. Now, if you're looking at this from a Friday the 13th Jason kind of angle, I'll leave it up to you if you would like this in your collection. But if we're just looking at this as a figure, she's gorgeous. And I think Kotobukiya has done a really nice job of interpreting her as a beautiful girl. So lastly, for today's series, we have Edward from Edward Scissorhands. So first of all, let's look at these awesome scissor hands that she's got. These are really well sculpted and really well painted, and they're actually really sharp. If you own this figure or you're getting this figure, just be careful because you could actually hurt yourself on these. They're really, really dangerous, but they look fantastic. Now her outfit is really cool as well. They've done a neat job reimagining Edward Scissorhands' classic bodysuit, you know, with all the belts and all the buckles. So they've reimagined it into this cute little dress with these gloves and these stockings. I'm also kind of getting Xena Warrior Princess vibes a little bit from this, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Now, if you look at the top of the bodice of the dress and you look at the skirt, first of all, I kind of like that they added the second layer of the skirt with the clear PVC. It adds a little lightness and airiness to the figure. But I also like the jagged edges that they've put in. So it looks like, you know, Edward might have had a few mishaps and accidentally sliced at her own dress a little bit. And that happens in the movie. So I think it's kind of cute. What I do wish they had done is gone in and defined some of the outfit details a little more. So obviously you can see all the belt buckles and gold rivets are done in gold. But they've done a lot of detail work on the belts and on the gloves and at the top of her stockings there. But in terms of the sculpt, the detail is on the sculpt. And even on her boots, they've sculpted all of the shoelaces and even the rivets on the boots, or the grommet holes, the lacing holes, whatever. But they didn't bother to paint them, and I think that's really a missed opportunity there. It really would have been a nice way to elevate this figure. But let's have a look at her face. Oh, goodness. I don't know how they did it. they've somehow managed to capture the sweetness and innocence and even the sadness in this facial expression that I think of when I think of Edward Scissorhands. She's so beautiful. She's got very pale, icy blue eyes. She's got like a dusty rose, dusty mauve kind of a lipstick. She's very, very pale. But to offset that paleness, they've done some really subtle airbrushing on her arms, her shoulders, even on her butt cheeks, to add a little bit of dimension. Her face is just exquisite, really. I do wish they had done something more with her hair. Now, her hairstyle is super cute. She's got this high ponytail, lots of pieces. It's super cute, very modern. But I wish they had done a little more coloring with it. It's just a flat black, and it's a little bit of a missed opportunity there. So I wish they had done a little more detail painting on her hair and on the outfit. But overall, the sculpt is beautiful. Little side note, I don't know if you're going to see it in this video, but she is wearing panties. She's got little black and white striped pants, pantsuit. All right, so she's also standing on a cute base that's designed to look like a wooden floor. Nice coloring and texturing on that base, with a little bit of ice and snow on it, which is actually very nice. If you remember towards the end of Edward Scissorhands, Winona Ryder's character mentions that before Edward visited, there was it never snowed. And then after he visited, it did. So that's just kind of a nice little reference there. And also she's screwed into the base, which is a nice, I guess a nice change, because we've gone from, pegs to magnets to now screws. So it's kind of an interesting evolution here. Now, aside from what I've said about wishing they had done a bit more with the paint detailing, I think this is a beautiful, beautiful figure. The sculpt is exquisite. The pose and the reimagining of Edward Scissorhands is just really, really well done. And I really enjoyed this figure. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth look at these 4 figures. These are really, really cool Kotobukiya Bishoujo girl figures. Lucy from Ghostbusters kind of paved the way. When she released, they also released figures from Men in Black and Kill Bill. They were trying to infuse a little more pop culture into the Kotobukiya Bishoujo line. So you can think of her as the first in the horror series, whether you consider Ghostbusters a horror movie or not. But it really did pave the way. Freddy and Jason, I mean, what can I say? These are iconic horror characters. Their franchises are still going. Their movies are still popular and terrifying to this day. Now, I have to confess, I've actually never seen Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th, and I don't plan on it. I'm not a fan of horror movies. That's just me. But these are iconic characters. There's something else I wanted to talk about with these 2 figures in particular, though. Ready? They're magnetic. So this was an experiment that Kotobukiya did. These bases have a metal plate in them, and there's earth magnets on the feet of the the figures. So you can move them around, flip them around, display them how you like. I don't know that they did this again, because they re-release Jason and Freddy periodically, every few years, because Halloween is so popular. But I don't know that the re-releases have these magnetic strips. So let me know if you own later releases of these figures, if it has this magnetic feature. I've never seen them do it in any other figure. I think it's really, really cool. And it has a lot of options. You could do something really neat with this if you were to customize these. So yeah, magnetic bases. Really cool. Now, Edward. Oh, what can I say about Edward? Whether you think of Edward Scissorhands as a horror movie, I guess could be a little bit subjective. But Shunya Yamashita's artwork in reimagining Edward Scissorhands as a Bishoujo character, it's beautiful. And I'll be completely honest, of all of the Bishoujo figures that I own, and I own a lot, Edward is in the top 3 of my favorites. And I don't say that lightly. I love this figure. As you can see, I still have quite a few horror-themed Kotobukiya Bishoujo figures that I haven't opened yet. So if there's something you'd like to see, drop a comment so I get an idea of what you'd like me to open next. In the meantime, I hope you liked this video. Please hit the like button if you did. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you get a notification when I post something new. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.